Okay, so this is a problem in American politics. Enter Elizabeth Warren, this person who's supposed to be the champion for the working people, this champion of progressive ideals, and she runs around saying she's going to help the middle class and the poor. But at the same time, I have this big problem with the left where I don't feel like they talk about healthcare. I don't feel like they talk about getting food to the poor. I don't feel like they talk about education reform. Instead, all I see them do is say we're going to tax the rich, destroy the rich, and their views are more built on envy versus helping people. And right now, because of that, 1,100 people just lost their job because of Elizabeth Warren. That brings us to iRobot, which is famous for introducing the robotic vacuum to the market, where they've sold 50 million Roombas so far, and they have been a really successful and innovative company. The problem is, for the last few years, iRobot's been getting their ass kicked. There's a huge problem with companies like Roborock and other things coming in, and they are introducing cheaper products, which might actually be better, and because of that, iRobot's sales have actually fallen 47% in the last 2 years. So they won it now, and that out was Jeff Bezos and Amazon, where they had this whole idea saying that Amazon would buy them for $1.7 billion. All the investors and employees who own stock can walk out happy from that acquisition, and at the same time, Amazon would keep the company alive, where they're going to push out robotic vacuums, but because it's Amazon, they'll have better funding to make cheaper and better products. The issue was Liz Warren didn't like that because her feeling was Amazon got too big and they've had too many acquisitions, where they purchased MGM Studios for $9 billion, they bought Ring cameras for $1 billion, they own IMBD, and they've also had a lot of other acquisitions, which have total cost the company around $30 billion over a period of 15 years. Because this Liz Warren was going against Jeff Bezos and Amazon as well as iRobot, but she wasn't actually making the typical claim, which is antitrust. And antitrust laws began at the end of the 19th century, where the government determined there were companies that were too big, like Standard Oil, and they had to be split up. And in the case of Standard Oil with John D. Rockefeller, they owned 90% of the oil market, so they split it into 34 separate companies instead, and it actually made John D. Rockefeller richer in the process because he still owned stock in all the companies. It was very difficult to make a case that Amazon and iRobot would violate antitrust laws because at the end of the day, iRobot with the Roomba only controlled about 2% of the vacuum market, and then it only controlled about a third of the robotic vacuum market, which is not a lot because they started that category. So because Liz Warren really couldn't go from this from an antitrust perspective, what she decided to instead was focus on a data privacy perspective, where she pointed out that Amazon spent $1 billion buying Ring, which means they now have doorbells that are used with cameras in people's homes. They also make Alexa, which is a product that people have in their homes and theoretically could hear them. So they came from this point that they shouldn't be able to own Roomba because they were getting too involved in the home appliance network and too connected to the internet, so Amazon would have too much information on people potentially. It wasn't enough. Warren won. It squashed the acquisition. It didn't happen. Jeff Bezos pulled out, and Amazon didn't buy iRobot, but the consequence is iRobot is now going out of business. This is an issue I see with the left. There is a case that Amazon could have bought the company, put hundreds of millions of dollars into it, made a better product, made people happier, and kept jobs, but now Liz Warren didn't do that, so I don't think that was good. But with that, I'm Red Blue and you, Charles Perala. Please subscribe to learn something.